so basically, the service is just it's a quick way to containerize the .NET and Java application and push them to ECS and to the cloud. It's really cool what it does, and I was really when I saw actually I was in the middle of the migration, it creates the cloud formation stack, and behind the scene, it generates the Docker file, basically all the configuration as far as putting together the container. It does all that. I didn't have to touch the source code of the application, nor any other code. I didn't write any cloud formation code. Absolutely, almost nothing. I just run few commands from the workshop and did some configuration, and I was able to get it up and running. So basically, the goal of this POC, I'm not going to go over because I had to spin up an EC2 instance. I had to configure a few things to install the Docker engine. I had to install AWS tools for Windows PowerShell, IIS. And also I installed I downloaded the app, the old legacy application, which I'll show you in a minute. So all that, it's not something I'm going to go over, but I'm going to go over the application, the migration process, how I got it to basically from point A to point B, as if we are going to migrate old legacy application from on-prem to the cloud. Okay, it's called NoCommerce. So I just cloned this application on the server and installed it there. And actually, here is the application live. It's called NoCommerce.com. So this is the application we're gonna use for this POC. Okay, so to recap, basically I used App to Container hands-on workshop from AWS and basically followed the directions here. The first thing I had to do is to clone the legacy application. It's called NoCommerce on the server, so we had to do that. And to do that, it's as simple as taking the source code from GitHub, and I did the clone, which actually, let me show you. I have a command I did right here. So create a directory, and I cd to the directory, and I did the clone, the git clone of the to NoCommerce, and I'm gonna change the directory to where the binary are. And I did a git checkout to get the release, the latest release, and that basically all I had to do to install the application on the server locally. Remember, this is on the server where we have not deployed the application to AWS yet. And the next step on the workshop, I had to create a website in local IIS and then deploy the Node application to local IIS on the server. All this, there was some work involved. So first I had to spin up an EC2 instance, a Windows EC2 instance. I had to download IIS, configure it, make sure the application is can come up locally. This is basically as if I am on a data center. So I took an image of my application data center on AWS EC2, and then from there I'm going to upload it to ECS, to a container, to be able to migrate the application as if I am migrating the application from on-prem to AWS via App to Container. Actually, let me show you the application is it is up and running because I had to configure that locally. Let me show you how I did that. So I am back to the server. This is actually my server. If you can see that, actually right there. This is my server right there on AWS. I'm just going to go to my browser here, and hopefully this will come up, because if I did everything properly, configure IS, and I had to download some tools, AWS tools, and all that good stuff, which I show you later. But let's see if the website will come up. Actually, the application. There we go. So as you can see here, it says NoCommerce installation. This is similar to WordPress, right? The first thing you see here is you get this a dashboard. You have to provide the user ID for the actually database should be here right there. SQL connection. So you provide the SQL username, password, and admin account as well. And you hit install, and it's basically installs everything automatically for you. I'm not going through that because that's not the purpose of this POC. We're not gonna get the whole e-commerce website up and running, but the purpose is how we can migrate a legacy application such as this one to AWS through ECS or ETS. I mean, there are two options to do that, which I'll show you later. But I'm going to use ECS in this workshop. Okay. So far so good. This is actually it's good that we have the application up and running. So we can just go follow the next steps, which now we're going to do the deploy NoCommerce. We did this already. I say we did this. I will go over it, but to save some time, I'm not going to go through the back end, what I've done on the server level. I'm just going to go through the process, the migration process, the app, to get it migrated to AWS. That's the goal of this POC. So now we're going to initialize the app to container. So let's do that. I am back on my server. This is PowerShell. This is Windows Server. Before we run the initialize the application, I'd like to do some checking to make sure my configuration is done properly. So I usually do the pre-installation, installation, and post-installation. It's good to do insanity check to validate the whole deployment from end to end while we're doing the installation. So first thing I would like to do is to run get package. Here we go. And there are a couple of, there are too many packages here. Most of these are tools from AWS tools, but the ones that I'm looking for should be here somewhere, right here. The Docker, I had to install the Docker provider, package management, and PowerShell Git. So this is good. So these are the tools that I was looking for. Now, come on, clear screen here. Now let's do another check. Now I'm gonna see if I can get my modules installed. So if I do install module, here we go. Same thing here. There are quite a few AWS tools. Here we go. So we have AWS tools installer, the Docker, the Docker for MS provider, the package management, and PowerShell Git. And the rest of these are AWS tools for a lot of services. If we're going to be using some of the services like Macy's and what else? I mean, it's basically every single service that you can think of. Here we go. We have EBS, EC2, ECR. So if we are going to be using these services, then they're already installed and they're ready for us. Okay. So now let's move to our next step. Oh, I need to do one more check. Let's see. So if I do Docker run IT hello world, I should get a message that everything is cool. There we go. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. The Docker took the following steps: Docker clients, the daemon. I mean, this is basically, I want to make sure the Docker installation was done properly. So this is good. Now let's move on to the next step. Let me clear the screen, and now run app to container init. So what is app to container init? Init stands for initializing. So we're configuring app to container. So that's where we have to tell it where we're gonna upload the artifacts, which account we're gonna deploy the application to, right? We can have multiple accounts, like a Baptist, we have multiple accounts. So we have to specify which account is gonna be deployed to. And you will see there'll be prompt to enter some values for each question that I'm going to be prompt to. So let's do that. Okay, so first thing says workspace directories. It creates this. This is what I have the. No, this is not what I have the application installed. It was a different directory, but this is just a staging area. So I'm just going to use what the default here. It says AWS profile configure, AWS configure default. So I'm going to use default because I've already done this. Okay, S3 buckets. So I did actually create the S3 bucket. So let me show you. Okay, so I am back to my AWS account. As you can see, here's my name. This is my personal account. And here we go. You see this is the only instance that it's running. That's app to container Windows 219. This is the only app, the only EC2 that is running. Everything is stopped. So I don't need to, most of the stuff I do here, that's POC anyway. So my instance is up and running. So I'm going to go and just create another tab and go to S3. So to show you the bucket I already created, it should be there. We're going to grab that right here. I called it app to container bucket. And I'm going to grab bucket name and put it right there. App to container bucket. There we go. Report use metrics to AWS using, well, this is a POC, so I don't need to do that. I'm just going to say no. Okay, upload logs, generate artifacts and crashes. That's fine. We can do yes. I mean, some of the stuff, it's not that important because it's POC. Require image like this one, Docker content trust, DCT. I don't even know what that means. It will be good for production. I would say yes if it was production, but this is the POC. I'm just going to say no. And that should be it. The app container init is done. Okay, one more item I forgot to mention. I set up here AWS config profile. I chose default. The reason I chose default because I already did the configuration up front. Let me show you here. I created an IAM account, a user, and I provided the key and the secret key. I had to hide my secret key. So Nobody can mess with my account, but I will destroy everything anyway. But anyway, I already set this up front, so I'm telling it to use US East 1, right? So this is my profile, and that's how this will configure when we say AWS configure profile default. So it will pick this by default. It knows my account because I'm providing the key here, and it knows which region. Okay. Okay, where are we? We finished initialize app to container. So now we're going to do analyze the application. Okay. Please note here. So analyze is the command is right here, right? However, we need the application ID, right? This server can have Java. However, initialize app to container. So now we're going to do analyze the application. Okay. Please note here. So analyze is the command is right here, right? However, we need the application ID, right? This server can have Java, can have .NET, can have any type of application, right? But we're looking for our application, the NoCommerce website that we're trying to migrate, but we don't know which app ID it has. App to container, it will append a unique ID to it. We don't know what it is, so in order to get that, we have to run this command. Okay. This command does a couple things. Let me just paste it and I'll describe exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so basically, running app to container inventory not only is going to provide us with the application ID, but it will check every application on the server, whether it's ASP, Java, .NET, whatever application type, it will generate reports and give us the application name along with ID, which is what we need. The other thing that does, it's really another cool feature app to container. It helps you. It does actually provide some suggestion as to whether your application is compatible to be hosted on AWS, which I found really cool because it's great to get an idea before we go through all these efforts of migrating the application. Next thing, it will not work, right? So it's good to get an idea upfront. If it's not compatible, here is why, and whether that application needs to be a total rewrite or whatever the case may be. But it's good to have. So let me go ahead and run this inventory. What's going on here? There we go. Taking its sweet time. Okay. So please notice here, this is a default web application. That's a default, whatever it is. I did not install it, but I installed this one, NoCommerce or NoCommerce, right? And notice here, I have an ID, a unique ID. Same thing with this one. It has a unique ID attached to it. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. So in order to run the next step, we need the ID of my application so we can use it later. So I'm gonna just put my ID there, and I already I have a next. See, as you can see here, this is the command I copied from the doc, right? So I am gonna take my application ID and get rid of this value and replace it with that. Now we can do the analyze, right? We're doing the analyze right here. Not sure if you can see that. Let's see if I can get the font bigger, but it's okay. We're gonna paste it in a way. So let's go back here. And okay, so you saw what I just did. So we need to run this analyze command, but in order to run the analyze command, we need to know the application name as well as the ID. So I got this ID from here because I run the inventory. Okay, now let's go ahead and run this command. Why this thing is, there we go. Sometimes I have to keep clicking. I don't know. So it is running. I'm going to pause my video because this might take a few minutes. Okay, so analysis has been performed successfully, as we can see here, for this application, our NoCommerce application. And notice here, it says, edit the application analysis file as needed. This is a really good option. It gives us an opportunity to do some modification to the file based on our requirement if needed. So in other words, let's grab the file and see exactly what they are talking about. And just drop it here. Hopefully it will open. There we go. So I have Studio open here. So the first thing I see here, you have the option to use your own base image if you need to. You can put your own Docker image, which is right here. Right now it's using default. So if you have a customized Docker image, you can use that. Otherwise, we can use the default. And also, it gives you option to where you want to put the image. No, this is the image name, repository name. I thought I saw where actually base image, this repository name, tag. No, so maybe somewhere I saw that somewhere else. But anyway, you have the option to use your own Docker image, or we can use default, and you can change the name. And also you can add ports, as you can see here, files, and you can change basically. Let's see if I can scroll here down. So you have the option to change it based on your requirements. If not, you can just use keep things as a default. It's just I thought this is a really nice option to have. Okay, next step. We're almost done. We have 2 steps to go. I think it's step 10. That's going to take some time, but let's do. We just finished analyze. Now let's do the transform. And transform is application container, containerize application, and application ID. So this basically what's going to do. It's going to download the base image, the Windows core image, and it will create a Docker file as well. So let's grab this code here. And let's put it here for now. What is my notes? There we go. So let's put it here for now. There it is. Oh, notice something here. This is nice. They're even telling us to run the next command. This is the same command that I just got from the documentation, right? So if I take this command and do copy, drop it right next to the one that I just copied from the doc, they are exactly the same. That's nice. They even gave us the application ID, so we don't have to keep copy and pasting the right app ID, so that this will make sure we're running the right app ID here. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Let me start fresh screen. Here we go. And paste it here. App to container, containerize, application ID, looks good. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take. I'm just going to pause my video right now. Notice here it says containerizing application, our application, the NoCommerce. So it's doing all the containerization behind the scene for us. So we don't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, I haven't done any code change, nothing at all. I'm just running the migration process. So I did not touch the application at all. Okay, the process is done. Containerization successful. And notice here, Docker prerequisite check succeeded. Docker generated under this path here. Extracted the container artifacts for the application and generated Docker file, which is this folder. So it did all the Docker work for us without doing anything manually, which is nice. So here it says, please use Docker image to view generated container image. So let's do that. Docker image or images. Okay. So here is my app, NoCommerce. It's about 7, it's almost 8 gig. It's fairly large. And here is the Windows Server Core, which is about 7.3 gig. So everything is good. So we have the application has been containerized, and then the next step is to deploy it to ECS, or I should say to AWS via ECS. Okay, so our application has been containerized. The Docker image has been generated for our application, and let's see. It says here, this is where we have to specify whether we're going to use ECS or we're going to use EKS. We can use either or. You cannot use both. That's obvious, right? So let's go to this file and grab this deployment. So we need to check this deployment, because before we run, I think there's a last command to have to run, which is the deployment. But the deployment command is going to use this file, this deployment.json file, because that's where it shows whether we're going to be using ECS versus EKS. So if I go here, I'll have the option to choose ECS versus EKS. Okay, notice here, let me collapse these two. You see this section, it says ECS parameters, and here it says EKS parameters. If I expand on ECS, notice here, it says create ECS artifacts true, right? So this means we're going to deploy using ECS. If I collapse the ECS and open EKS parameters section, and I see false for EKS, okay, which makes sense. So we are again, this file is it's editable. You can change it per your requirements. You choose which service you want to use, whether it's ECS, EKS. Since I have this already set to true, I'm just going to leave things as is. I have my application ID there. Everything looks good. The stack name, that's already, it should be already on my account. We can check later, but the deployment is ready. And since this is set to true, it's going to use ECS. Okay, one more item that I forgot to mention is the Docker file. We all know Dockerfile is very important file. Let me go to the artifacts. Okay, so I am in the application. Now let me just show you how I got there. So I am in user administration, app data, local, app to container. I go to my application, go to artifacts, and here's the Docker file. Let's open it and see what's in there. Let's just use Notepad. I'm not sure, this is too small. But anyway, a lot of stuff here. Notice here, it's using the Windows Server Core image. Okay, this is default. I mentioned in my prior slides that we have the option in one of the JSON file to change this default to our own custom Docker image if we want to. So we do have an option. The rest here, a lot of Windows stuff. I am not a Windows guy. Oops, I just lost it. But the cool part here, you have full control of the Docker file. You can change things around as you see fit. Whatever. I mean, most of these features are commented out, and all you have to do is see what's a good fit for the requirement. You can uncomment whatever the feature you need, or you can add more to it. But you have full control of the Docker file. So this is what I wanted to just kind of go over quickly before I go to the next step. Our application has been containerized and it's ready to be deployed to ECS. So let's go back to our menu here and start where we left off. Number 9 is done. The transformation is done. Now we're going to go to deploy. Okay. This is where the magic happens. Basically, the deployment is going to use all the configuration we did in our prior steps and deploy our application accordingly. So let's take this command and run it. Well, we need to change the ID, right? So let's do that. Okay, let's clear my screen and run this job. I think we are ready. Let's see. Okay, the process has started. Docker prerequisite check successful or succeeded. Create ECR. So I'm gonna pause. Actually, I'd like to add one more item here. So what I found out from reading the documentation, this process, it creates a new VPC where the application will reside, okay, which is fine. However, what if we decide to use our own existing VPC, right? I mean, we already have the account, the foundation already laid out. We already have our own existing VPC. So it has to be a way to deploy this application to one of our existing VPC. That question is answered by this tag. Actually, let me go back here so I don't interrupt my command there. I hate to start all over. This took a little bit. close to 4 or 5 hours to do the whole thing from ground up. But anyway, take a look at this command, please. I have app to container generate, okay, app deployment, the tag deploy, right, and then our application, and we provide the application ID. This is the critical tag right here. If I remove this tag, actually, let me do this. I'll keep my notes. I could have run this command without the dash deploy. And what this gonna do, it's gonna build the artifacts. You're gonna build the CloudFormation stack. Everything that we need to in order to perform the deployment, it will be ready on the CloudFormation stack, and it will not be deployed. Okay, so what does that mean? That means we can manually go to that the template, the CloudFormation template, where the VPC there is a creation of that VPC in one of those templates. We can change it from creating a VPC to providing a VPC ID that already exists. If we have a VPC, let's say we're deploying this to dev, so we'll grab VPC ID, the dev VPC ID, and use that in the CloudFormation template. Okay, so basically, somebody has to be knowledgeable about CloudFormation. That's something that it's an option we have, and you can change the stack based on our requirements. So that question I had, and I had to answer it myself, because after I ran this yesterday, I noticed that it created a VPC. I'm like, wow, this is good, but not quite good, because I wanted to have an option to be able to provision these resources into an existing VPC. So again, removing this dash deploy will do just that. It will create all the VPC stack the CloudFormation stack for you, and you can change things around, and then you can deploy it. So, all right, I'm going to pause here for a second, because this is going to take a few minutes. It could take almost 30 minutes last time, I think. So I'm going to pause here. Okay, our application deployment to ECS has been done successfully. Take a look here. We have a URL that was provided to us. This is actually for the load balancer endpoint. This is where we can test. I can't copy paste here. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to take this endpoint here, the load balancer endpoint, and if this brings up the application, then we call it a victory. Okay, so let's drop it right there. Let's pray. Come on. You can do it. I need helpline. Never mind. This is good. This is good. This is really good. Okay. What we have here, our application has been deployed to ECS, and we are, as you can see here, we are browsing our application from ECS. This is on AWS, on ECS. Um, it has been deployed successfully, and as you can see through the whole process, I did not touch a code or anything else for that matter. Even the deployment, it was just a command that was provided to me, and the app to container it built all the necessary modules as far as the Docker, container, all the containerization process. It was done for us during this process. Um, this is really cool. So let's go back and see what we got here. Um, it says AWS prerequisite check succeeded. Docker prerequisite check succeeded. Created ECR repository, which is it did create one. In actually, I can show you if I go back to my account. I am. This is ECS. Let's see if I go back. Here's ECR. What did they do? Go back to ECR repository. Here's my. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. Okay, ECR repositories. Here's my application. Okay. So now let's go back, see what else the deployment did. Push the Docker image to ECR, we just saw that. Registered ECS task definition with ECS. Let's go back to my account. Let's go back to ECS. There is ECS. Okay. Here is my application. Okay. Task definition. There it is. Active as the application. Okay. Looks good. Let's go back and see what else we have here. Registered ECS, we saw that. Uploaded CloudFormation resources to S3 bucket. Okay, let's do that. Let's go see where the S3 bucket is. There it is. There's my Amazon S3 bucket. Here's my bucket right there. I called it app to container. If I go there and just drill down, we should see some files here. There we go. Everything is there. So ECS, as you can see, ECS load balancer, ECS master, the private app, a lot of good stuff. Everything has been saved. All the configuration is saved on S3 bucket. Let's see what else we have here. Upload CloudFormation. Okay, we just saw that. Generate CloudFormation master template. Okay, let's go back to my account and let's look for. Let's go back to CloudFormation. I know this is my EC2. There it is. CloudFormation stack. NoCommerce ECS. App stack. A2C. It's all. This is always generated for us. If I just go click here and see what else we have inside. If I go back to resources, there we go. I see ECS custom resource role. ECS, let's see what else it did here. It looks like a load balancer. So it looks good. Let's go to the next one. Resources, cluster, EC2 instance. EC2 role, ECS auto scaling. This is very nice. So it did all this for us. We didn't write a code, not even a code to deploy this stuff. It was everything was done for us. What else? What else? What else? I think that's about it. That's the main thing that I wanted to see is not only the configuration and we have a successful deployment, but I am able to run my app via ECS. It's on ECS as we speak, and I just showed you the deployment on my account. One last item. This is the deployment is just so you know, the deployment is only for the application. The database is done separately, and the database is not done through app to container. We don't need to do that. The database can be migrated through this service called I forgot. It's migration a service. I forgot the exact name. Let me look it up. Here we go. I found it. It's called DMS, Database Migration Service. Actually, I've used this service before. It's a really great service. It automates a lot of tedious work for you. I mean, you point it to a source, you point to a destination, and DMS it builds an EC2 instance in the middle. It does all the transformation, and it pushes it to a target. It's really cool, and it does this pretty much once you set it up, the migration is done for you. So this app here, this is a SQL server name. I mean, the connection, all the endpoints, all that. In order for this to work properly, so we have to spin up an RDS database. Could be MySQL, could be Aurora MySQL, could be any database engine, right? And then before we do the install here, so we have to point this application to the right database. But that's another conversation. I just want to point that out that during this deployment, we only deploy the application. Database is done separately. That's basically sums it up. Basically that's everything that I needed to cover as far as deploying old legacy application to AWS, and it's doable and it's going to be done. So that should do it. If you have any questions, if folks want to know what I did on the server level, please reach out. I can walk you through that process as well. Thank you.